In today's tutorial, we're going to see how we can be able to design this beautiful looking HTML form using an HTML and CSS. So if I hover over this form, you can see it will adjust and then rotate back to 0 degree. And if I leave it, it will rotate back to 20 degree there also. So, and you can see we're having a nice background over here. By the way, if you want to see how I design and included this background, you can check out the video at the top over there, and you can see how big is the background. So you can see our HTML form is looking very beautiful. We can go ahead and type our name, password. So this tutorial does not require any advanced skills. It's just totally for beginners. If you're a beginner, you can be able to learn how to design this beautiful looking HTML form. See, when we hover over this button, it changes the color, it swaps the color from left to right. Likewise, when we take our cursors, and you can see when we rotate and when we hover, it goes back to normal. So let's see how we can be able to design this beautiful looking HTML form in CSS and HTML. Alright, here I am in my project. I've just created a simple project and call it the name, any name of your choice. Just call it any name of your choice. And I've created an index.html, I've created and style.css, and you can see it is empty. And this our index.css just have a small boilerplate of head and everything. So and then we have our images. We just drop one of our image so that we can add it as a background. So let's go ahead and start our project. So first of all, I want to create a section element with a class of top section for the top section, and then inside it I want to have first of all have a h1 the title of cs html and css login form. So after this, I want to have a div with a class name of login contain, and then inside the login container we're going to have a form. So and inside our form we are going to have a div of item. So we're just going to have a div element. Inside our div we have a label, and for username then we call this one username. So after this label we have an input element of type text. So text, and then with the placeholder of username, an ID of username as well, so that this label can point to it. This for matches this the for a attribute, the value of this for attribute on the label matches the ID of the input. So the next one, let's copy this and duplicate. So we duplicate it and then we change this one to password and this one to password as well. This one to password. Alright, then we have our button over here that says login. So after this we are done. We have already linked our CSS over here. So linked our CSS file over here. So if we save this and preview it in the browser, let's see what happens in the browser. So you can see what is showing over here in the browser is looking ugly. But let's make it beautiful with CSS. Of course, that is what it's meant for. So when we go to our CSS, the first thing is to add this responsive style and say box sizing, and say what border. After we have done this, we want to remove the default body margin. So body, we say margin 0. We remove there is any border. So we remove the border. So we save that. The next one is if we navigate back to our HTML, we want to target this top section class. Let's copy it. So when we go over here, open top section. Now we want to insert a background image. Background image URL, and then we will insert the image. Alright, since we have added our background image, let's take a look at it and see how it will appear in the browser. Wow, we can see how ugly the stuff is looking. So let's see how we can be able to make it look beautiful more. So first of all, we want this background to cover the whole page. So we will say background size. We give it cover. Say background background position. We say 100%. Then next one, background repeat. No repeat. We don't want the background to repeat. Repeat. No repeat. And we want image to take the full width of the screen. So we say height of 100 VH. VH stands for viewport height. So it's a viewport of any device. So and then the width as well should be 100 view width of any device. So but we want the maximum width. We don't want to see scroll bar, either horizontal or vertical scroll bar. So we will say max width of 100%. So after this, we now we will now let's check it out and see how it is appearing in the browser. Alright, yeah, it's looking much more beautiful right now. So let's target this our heading at the top over there. So first of all, we say this our heading is H1, I guess. It's H1. So we target it and say H1, and then we will position it absolute. Then the next is left of 50%. Want it to move on the left, and then top of, let's just give it left, not left actually. We'll just give it top of 50%, and we'll text align it center, and then we'll give it width of 100%, so that you can take the full width of any device. 100%. Then we change the color and increase the font size. Color, we give it white since it's on dark background. So we give a font size of 3 rem. And let's take a look at it and see. By the way, in our body, I want to change the font family in our body, so I will type font family, and we select this first one. I guess. Check it out and see. Wow, our form is looking pretty nice, but it's at the center of the web page, which is not at the center that I wanted it to appear. I just wanted to shift at the top over here. So let's go back over here in our CSS under each one and then remove top 50% and see. So yeah, it's looking much more beautiful now. So now let's target this our form. You can see how it is looking. Now first of all, our form is inside an element known as login container. So we target this container and turn it into a card. So first of all, call it as login container and let's give it a minimum height of 300 pixel. Then we give it width of 300 pixel. Yes, 300 pixel. Then we'll give it background color. Give it background color. We want to add a linear background, so it should be background image. Now we give it linear gradient. Then we say to right, it should start from the right, from the left to the right, and then alright. So the colors we need is this, but we need to add an RGBA instead of RGB. It should be RGBA so that we can be able to add a little transparency to it. 0.5 maybe. Likewise here, RGBA, and we add transparency of 0.5, that is 50%. So let's save this and see how it will appear in the browser. Alright, so when we come to the browser over here, you can see where our form is, our container is at the top, but let's bring it down to the center. Let's center it vertically and horizontally in our web page. So to do that, we need to go back to our styles and position it and position this position absolute top 50%, top 50%, and then margin 0 to margin 0 to. Let's save it and see. Alright, so you can see our form is at the center, but it's not vertically centered. So how do we do that? So all we need to do is to add left over here, left of 50%, and we translate, translate, and the translate will be minus 50%, minus 50%. So it seems something is wrong. Let's check it out. Alright, instead of absolute 1L, I put 2L. So you can see our form in the center of our web page over here. So let's go ahead and style this input and make them look beautiful as well. So the next input that will be targeting is this our form input. Let's add padding to it. So we call them form and add padding top. So let's just call padding. Then we say padding top of 70 pixel, 0 pixel that is on the right, 0 and 70 pixel at the bottom, and 0 pixel on the left. So after we have done this, we we can add a margin of 5 pixel, of 0 pixel at the top, 5 pixel on the right, 0 pixel at the bottom, and 5 pixel on the left. So after we have done this, the next one, let's target our label and input. So we call label inputs, label comma inputs, and we want to display them block because they are inline elements by nature. We display them block, we text align them center, text align center, then we can give them font size of 1.3 rem. So font size 1.3 rem. So the next is we select only label and give it color of white, color of white. So and then this we give them padding, and a margin button of 50 pixel like that. So then let's select our input. Our input over here should have border radius. I want to make it round. Border radius of 30 pixel. I want to remove outline. I say outline none. I want to remove outline hidden in the cell. Then I want to remove border as well. Border none. You want to we want the width of each input to be 100%. 100%. We want the height to be 60%. I mean 60 pixel. 60 pixel. So let's take a look at it and see how it is appearing in our browser. Wow, it is great. It's looking nice. We just need to maybe increase the width of this our form and add radius. Alright, under our form, our container, we want to add a border radius. We want to make it rounded corners. Border radius of 10 pixel. Then we want to let's go ahead and add padding to this our form as well. 10 10 on the left and right. let's save it and take a look at it in the browser. Everything is looking pretty nice now. So let's go ahead and target our button. So we're going to be using this background image on the button as well. So let's copy it. We target the button. So all we are going to say is button, call the button, and then say other radius, of 30 pixel, take a line center, take a line center. We tell it to display block because a button is an inline element by nature. So we ask it to display block. Once it display block, we will now give it margin 0 auto so that it will center in the web page. Margin 0 auto. After margin 0 auto, let's give it this background. Then we will give it height of 60 pixel. Height of 60 pixel. We give it a margin top 20 pixel. The next is we remove outline and border. So let's copy these ones over here, paste it down. So and then we want the width to be 200 pixel only. Width 200 pixel only. So let's save it and see. Wow, our button is looking great. Although we make the button 100% as well. So let's make the button to be 100%, and then we remove this opacity. Instead of adding opacity to the button, we don't need opacity here, and we remove this alpha and remove the opacity over here. Remove this. So I believe right now everything should be looking great. Wow, our button is looking great. So the next one is we need to, like, when this input is hovered on, we need to remove, when it is focused, we need to remove that margin. That was border, I mean to say, and the outline. So let's go over there. When this input is focused, so say input, we call them focus, input, focus visible. We want the border and the border and the outline to be known. So it will be known. Okay, again. Let's check it out and see. Okay. Everything is looking great. Let's change this name here, this lambda, to password instead of username. So go to our HTML and change here. Change this one to password, not username. Let's just keep this top here. So wait, when we hover over our button, you can see that when we hover over our button, the color switches. So let's just copy this button. But the only one that we're interested in is this. We're going to add hover to this button, and when we hover, I want to swap the colors position. So let's just cut it. First, this one over here. But we want this thing to take effect after maybe like 2 seconds. Let's add a transition to it. So we say transition of background image should take place after 2 seconds and it should work is in out. So we copy this and click on the button at the bottom here as well. And this one rather should be is in so that we have a kind of smooth feeling. So let's check it out. Let's see. So let's change the color of this button and increase the font size as well. Let's change the color of our button and increase the font size. So the font size of this button, we give font size of 1.3 rem. Yes, just it. Then we'll change the color to white since it's on that background color white. And another thing is that we need to rotate this our login container over here. Alright, another thing is we need to rotate this our login container when it is at rest. So let's say if we want to rotate, we can go transform. Then we want to rotate it by 20 degrees. So transform rotate 20 deg. Transform rotate by 20 degrees. But when someone hovers over the form, we want to take it back to the normal state. So login container dot hover. When someone hovers over the form, we want to rotate it to 0 degree. So here instead of 20 degrees, we make it in 0 degrees. Let's go ahead and check it out. Giving us the expected result. So what do we need to do? All we need to do is to, I forgot to add one class over here. We're supposed to wrap this in a class of container. So wrap it, call it a div class of container. So inside it we will now have login container. So those properties CSS, the transform translate, we add it to this container. So call container over here and call the whole of this out. Cut it out. Okay. So that is the container. So this container will center our login container vertically and horizontally. So but our login container we want it to rotate by 20 degrees. So that it will tilt somehow. Then when someone hovers over it, it goes back to 0 degree. So let's save everything and check it out and see. Yeah, it is giving us what we want. But you can see when we hover over it, it is so fast. It is not that smooth. So how can we make it smooth? So yeah, we need to add what is known as transition. So transition, and we tell the transition to take effect. Transition, the transform should take place 2 seconds. Then is in. So and then over here when we hover over it as well, we want the transition to take duration of 2 seconds is in out. Is in out, so that we have that kind of smooth appearance. So let's check it out and see. So when we hover over it, you can see how it is looking smooth now. When we hover over it, and we take it away, you can see how smooth it's looking. So we can go ahead and type our username, type our password, okay, so, and our button. So let's make this button so that whenever they hover a cursor over it, it will change to like something like they wants to click. So in under our button, we add cursor. We want to change the cursor appearance. So say cursor and say pointer. So make it look save it. So you can see when we hover over it now, our cursor is changing to something that you want to click. When we hover over it. Wow, guys, this is how you can be able to create a beautiful looking HTML and CSS login form. I've made a mistake over here, but that's by the way I can correct it. So you can see our HTMLs, our login form is looking beautiful. You can go ahead and integrate it in your website and have your users make use of it. Alright guys, this is how you can be able to create a beautiful looking HTML and CSS login form. So you can see all these simple steps that we took to create this beautiful looking UI. So you can go ahead and integrate it in your website or use it in your web app and have your users make use of it. You can go ahead and modify some things to look much more beautiful than the way maybe it is looking. But to me, even this one is looking so much beautiful with smooth transition and all the like. So I hope you learned new thing today. So if you're new to my YouTube channel, just go ahead, like, subscribe, and turn on notification. And if you have any issue, just let me know down in the comment section. Thank you. See you in the next video.